Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the preview for the 2023 Monaco Grand Prix, what is now, following the cancellation of Imola, the first race of a double-header with Spain. It could be a thrilling couple of weeks. Look, I like to poke fun at Monaco, and I know it can be very processional, with qualifying often being a session that really ends up mattering, at least in terms of track position. But there is still something very special about the Monaco weekend, and I always cling on to that naive hope that maybe, just maybe, this is the year we get a classic. You never know and all that. Enough of all that waffle though, let's crack on with the preview, starting as always with a look at the circuit. So, last time out, F1 was supposed to be racing in Imola, but unfortunately that didn't happen, as I'm sure you're all very aware by now. So now, instead, it is on to Monaco for what is now round 6 of the 2023 season, and the 69th, leave it, World Championship running of the famous race around the streets of Monte Carlo. A lap of the Circuit de Monaco is just 3.337 kilometers long. If you work in miles, that is just over 2, and is made up of 19 corners with 78 racing laps scheduled for Sunday. The overall race distance, by the way, is a little over 260.28 kilometers, and the race lap record is held by Lewis Hamilton, who posted a 1:12.909 in 2021. There will be just the one DRS zone this weekend, not that that's going to make all that much of a difference, and that will run from just after the exit of the final corner, all the way down the start-finish banana, and ends just before turn 1. Don't expect an overtaking fest, because that's just not realistic when it comes to Monaco, but for what it's worth, the best spots to at least try and make a move are the first corner, better known as Sandavot, Mirabeau, which is turn 5, and the Nouvelle chicane at turns 10 and 11. Since its first appearance on the F1 calendar as a World Championship event in 1950, there have been 36 different winners of the race, with Juan Manuel Fangio taking the first win and Ayrton Senna holding the record for the most wins with 6. And of course, the most recent winner around the principality is Sergio Perez, who managed to take victory in mixed conditions last season, leading home the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz and teammate Max Verstappen. Charles Leclerc, by the way, was 4th, and the top 4 ended the race separated by just shy of 3 seconds. Of the drivers on the current grid, the driver with the most Monaco wins is Lewis Hamilton with 3, but if he can pull off a, let's say, surprise win on Sunday, Fernando Alonso would join him on 3 wins. That would mean 6 between them. That's maths. And what's beautiful about that is that not only is 3 the number of dry tyre compounds available across a race weekend, but 6 is also the number of dry tyre compounds in the whole of the Pirelli range. As I'm sure you've already worked out by now, it is tyre talk time. The compounds available for this weekend are the softest in the Pirelli range, as is often the case around Monaco, and they are the hard C3, the medium C4, and the soft C5. There are 2 things you're going to hear a lot this weekend, and they are the importance of track position and the importance of nailing the strategy, because Monaco is a race where a poor pit stop, a bad strategy, or falling into traffic can cost a driver big time. Pirelli says there is very little grip around the circuit, not helped by the fact the track is opened up to normal traffic every evening, meaning it's not easy to rubber the track in across the weekend, which obviously makes the surface even more slippery. The track also causes very limited tyre wear. So with that in mind, it will come as no great surprise when I say that unless we get mixed conditions or a flurry of safety cars, maybe even red flags, then it's likely teams will all aim for a one-stop strategy. Last year, though, because of the track going from wet to dry and a couple of red flags, most drivers changed tyres at least twice, with some changing them 3 times, including race winner Perez. So the fairest comparison is to look back at 2021, where Verstappen started on the soft C5 and pitted just the once on lap 34 for the hard C3s and went on to take victory. In fact, only 1 driver pitted more than once in 2021, and that was Lewis Hamilton, who stuck on a set of the softs right at the end to go for the fastest lap. The fastest pit stop last year was carried out by Red Bull, who serviced Sergio Perez's car in 2.3 seconds, and the total pit lane loss time for actual stops was largely between 24 and 27 seconds. In 2021, where things were a bit less chaotic, the loss time was around 23 to 24 seconds. The safety car does like to make an appearance at Monaco, with Aston Martin saying that 3 of the last 5 races have featured at least 1 full or virtual safety car. It is also worth noting that with track position being so important, most, if not all teams will likely focus car setup on 1 lap pace rather than race pace. As for the weather, well, it looks like we could see some rain, especially on race day, which could spice things up very nicely indeed. But anyway, the forecast says that Friday should stay dry, with highs of around 23 degrees. Saturday's temperatures are set to be largely the same, with highs of 23 for qualifying, and a risk of rain for that session currently sat at 35%. On race day, though, it is expected to be around 22 degrees in time for lights out, with the chance of rain at 77% as I sit here and record this on Wednesday afternoon. As I've said a few times in this part, though, that is how it stands today, and so it's worth bearing in mind there is still plenty of time for things to change before the weekend. And your schedule for this one is the usual European one, so no great surprises here. FP1 will get things going on Friday from 12:30 p.m. BST, and FP2 will be held later that afternoon at 4 p.m. Saturday's F1 action starts with FP3 at 11:30 a.m. with qualifying underway from 3 p.m. and it is lights out for the race on Sunday from 2 p.m. and once again that is in UK time. Now before I get on to my predictions, I'm going to run through a few news stories that I think are well worth a mention ahead of this weekend's action. First up, McLaren will once again run a special livery for the Monaco and Spanish Grand Prix this year. The front end of the so-called Triple Crown livery is in black in tribute to the F1 GTR that won the 24 Hours of Le Mans in McLaren's first attempt. The white in the middle comes from the 1984 Monaco winning MP4-2, and the papaya at the rear references McLaren's maiden Indy 500 winning M16CD. And if you're watching the Indy 500 this weekend, you'll notice the 4 Arrow McLaren entries will all be running different liveries. Let me know what you make of it down in the comments. I've been back and forth on it, if I'm being honest. I think it's okay, and it is a very nice tribute. What I will say, though, is it is way better than what they've been running and will be running for the rest of the season. But I do actually prefer the Gulf livery. I absolutely adored that one. But it's all right. Looking forward to seeing it out on track because these one-off looks often look better in the flesh, if you like, than in a few renders or photos. But let me know your thoughts. This weekend, Mercedes will be running its new and highly anticipated update package. The update was set to be introduced to Imola, but after the race was called off, the team decided to stick to the plan of bringing it to the first European race of the season, despite that race being Monaco. However, despite the intrigue and excitement from some about what this will mean for the team's form, Toto Wolff has warned that there are no silver bullets in F1 and he does not expect the new package will see a huge change in the competitive level of the W14. Instead, he said that the hope was to give the drivers a more stable and predictable platform, which the team will then build on in the weeks and months ahead. Explaining why Mercedes chose not to delay the package to Spain given the risks Monaco could pose, mainly damaging the new parts, Wolff said Monaco will still be an opportunity to learn about the upgrades, but at the same time, they don't want to draw too many conclusions based on one weekend. As covered in the Aston Martin Honda reaction video I put out at stupid o'clock on Wednesday morning, there were some mentions of what it means for Fernando Alonso's future at the team. However, since that video went out, Honda has said it has no objections to teaming up with the Spaniard again, and went on to describe him as a genius driver, and made it clear that the selection of the drivers is up to the team to decide, although they will still offer an opinion. And finally, Helmut Marko has said that Red Bull has decided not to sell the Alphatar team or move the whole operation away from Faenza. Instead, the team will, according to Marko, work even more closely with Red Bull, and there will be an increased presence within Alphatari's aerodynamics department in Bicester in the UK. A decision on whether to rename the team or stick with the Alphatari brand has still not been taken, though, and that's according to reports. Right then, time for me to make some probably horrendous predictions, and as always, please do not take these too seriously, they're just a little bit of fun, and if you do disagree with my picks, then you can let me know yours in the comment section down below. And last time out, well, not great, but not as bad as they have been at some races so far this season, which looking at all that red and that score shows just how badly wrong I've been in 2023. Let's say no more and move on. This week, though, I do want to do something a little bit different. It is highly likely that Red Bull will take pole and go on to win the race, maybe with a 1-2, because that's just where we are at the moment. So rather than just picking one of those two drivers to win again, but while still acknowledging it will probably still be a Red Bull victory, I'm going to go a little bit bolder with my picks for this one. The reasons for that are, one, it mixes things up a bit in these previews, but more importantly, two, if we are going to see things get mixed up on track anywhere at the moment, thanks to maybe qualify, for example, it's going to be at Monaco. This is a circuit where, yes, the car is still massively important, but a driver can make all the difference, and one mistake can also make all the difference, as can factors like the weather, safety cars, and red flags, of course. Yes, absolutely, qualifying will be key and maintaining track position through pit stops will be vital. So, with that in mind, I'm going with Aston Martin to put huge focus on Saturday pace, and as a result, Fernando Alonso narrowly snatches pole position. He keeps the lead off the line, and that will allow him to dictate the pace at the front, and he will push hard around the pit stop windows to maximise the chance of holding on to that lead. Maybe even a timely safety car allows him to make a cheap pit stop and goes on to win the race. I should add, a legitimate timely safety car. Yeah, okay, I may well be living in fantasy land, but that's just the sort of thing I could see Alonso doing, because experience can also be an important factor around Monaco. I'll go with Max Verstappen to take P2 though, and even go as far as to say he will finish within 2 seconds of Alonso. I probably should say Sergio Perez for P3 at least. After all, he's pretty handy around a street circuit, as we know very well by now. But as I've already said, I'm making some risky picks for Monaco, so I'm going to say Charles Leclerc will finally make it to the podium at his home Grand Prix. Couple of fan bases very quickly to cover off here. Firstly, Checo fans. I've already said he will probably be top 2 and have suggested he will make the podium, so I'm not writing him off. I'm just trying to make this part of the video less predictable than the actual races are at the moment. And secondly, Mercedes fans, their update may well make a difference, but I'm not sure we'll see that difference in Monaco. I think Spain will be where we'll see the leap forward if there is going to be one, but who knows, maybe we will see a Mercedes versus Perez fight for the win across the weekend. Once again, as I said towards the start of the video, let's hope that this weekend, fingers crossed, is a classic Monaco Grand Prix and not just another one of those processional afternoons. Plenty of naive optimism there, but that is it for the Monaco Grand Prix preview, but you can let me know your thoughts and your predictions ahead of the weekend in the comments section down below. Now, I will be back soon with some more content as always, and keep an eye out for live streams this weekend, including the usual race reaction on Sunday afternoon. And yes, we will try and make sure we are finished with that one before the Indy 500 starts. In the meantime, though, please do leave a like before you go, as it really does help give the channel a bit of a boost. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos or streams. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.